listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. Here's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Rolston.
Hello, lovely dynamic women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I'm Diane Rolston, your host, and today I have to be honest about something. I have to share something that is probably a fault in me, and maybe in some of you too. Now, the good thing is I love what I do. I love what I do so much, but I love what I do that much that work is actually my default. I'd prefer to be working. I'd prefer to be doing this, doing podcasts, coaching clients, leading my events, running dynamic women events, coaching my elite clients, writing books, like all this stuff. I love it. That there are detriments to that though. There are troubles. So what I'm going to cover today is the troubles with work being your default. Then I'm going to talk about why we do it and how to rebalance your life. So the solutions so that you don't do this maybe as much as I end up doing it. Because these are things that I've actually had to try. These are things that I have to keep reminding myself. Because when something is default for you, so maybe play is default for you. Watching TV is default. Hanging out with your friends is default. Whatever is default for you, the thing that you naturally go towards, it's going to be harder and it's going to take more energy for you to flip that and focus on the other things in your life. When we focus on the whole wheel of life, that is when we feel more balanced. So what's the trouble with work being your default? Well, when the day is done, like 9 to 5, you still sometimes end up going back to work. So trouble number one is you never stop. There are no boundaries. So evenings, weekends, holidays, there is a chance that you will work rather than rest. So that gets us to trouble number two. There's not enough downtime. Now, when you don't have the downtime, your stress increases. You can have bad sleep. So that's, also you can't get to sleep because your brain keeps going, or you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep, or you wake too early and then you're anxious and you can't get back to sleep because you're thinking of all the stuff that you're doing. And then that means that your health suffers. When you don't have this right sleep, when you have increased stress, then there are so many negatives that can happen. I know for me, that's when I hold weight. That's when I get grumpy. And that's when my body can't heal itself. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to list off all the things, but I'm sure you know for you the things that happen when you are working way too much. Also, when you're doing this, you just don't have any time to manifest and to download. And what do I mean by this? When you can get out to the beach, into the forest, so into nature, or just have some relaxing chill time, that's when your brain just gets to kind of figure things out, come up with ideas. That's when you get to do downloads. So downloads from the universe, from God, really tapping into what needs to happen next for you or giving you ideas. Now, the third trouble with work being your default is that play gets missed. And you're like, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I don't really need to play. I don't need to go bowling. I don't need to run around with my kids. I don't need to laugh with my girlfriends. Well, when you play, and some other play might be knitting or painting, some other creative things, you actually lose creativity when you work all the time. You don't have anything else that can kind of bring in and work that other side of the brain and those other kind of brain cells and muscles that you have. And when you miss play, you lose joy. Because as much as I love my work and it brings me so much joy and so much energy, especially recently I held a women's event coaching a mastermind half day, and I had some of my clients on the panel, and man, the joy I felt in their success, the joy I felt in hearing their kind words about me and us working together, that's awesome. But play has a unique type of joy. And so for me, this is like dance parties with my kids, hanging out with my girlfriends, my husband and I joking around or going for hikes together. Play is important. Number 4, kind of touched on this a little bit in the play one, but number 4 is relationships can suffer, right? If you're working all the time, when are you hanging out with friends? And for me, hanging out with my friends, hanging out with my husband, hanging out with my kids doesn't happen as much. And even when I fly back to Ontario to see my family, I'm also working there. And so I maybe don't see my family as much as I would like to. And I don't even really realize it until the end, because I've chock-a-block full week of activities for work, but not as full for family. And number 5, the 5th trouble, and there's more troubles in this, but I just wanted to focus on these main 5. One more thing I wanted to add to the relationships can suffer. What happens is when you do succeed in your business, these people might not be there. They might not be there to celebrate with you. And so this makes me think of like people who are really building businesses or really pushing their careers, that they're doing it for their family. They're doing it for the happiness of them, to spend more time with them, to retire early maybe. But will they really be there when you've succeeded? And if they are, do you have a strong enough relationship to carry you forward? And even worse is when things go bad, when there's a tragedy, or when you've stuffed up, when something else bad happens, do you have support there in these relationships to have your back and to be there to help you through it? That's important. Okay, back to number 5. When you're not working, you feel lost. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you work all the time, your identity, your confidence, your happiness is coming from work. And then you can't relate to the rest of life because you're spending so much time in your work, you don't know what the rest of your life is like. And so there's been things, on my list of like, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. But they feel like extravagant things that I can't do because I have all this work to do. And it's not that I really have all this work to do. It's just that I choose it because I love it. But I might love something else better. I might love a drum circle better. I might love learning hip hop better. I might love reading books, sitting on the couch better than I do work. But I wouldn't know because I don't do it very often. So how do you relate to these 5 troubles of work being your default? I'd love to know. Now, why do we do it? Well, there's also 5 of these. Maybe you don't realize you're doing it until you look at your schedule and you ask yourself, what did I do today for my happiness? What did I do this week for my joy? If you can answer that with things that are not work related, then maybe you're okay. But this is what helped me to realize that I was using work way too much. So what did you do today that brought you joy? Or what did you do today that brought you happiness? Or what did you do today for your happiness, for your dreams? The second is, why do we do this? Because your worth comes from your work. So maybe you're not fulfilled in other areas of your life. Maybe your friendships or your marriage is suffering. Maybe you don't really have anything else that you pour your heart and soul into. And maybe you don't feel very confident in yourself. And when you go to work and you achieve, that's where your worth comes from. That could be why you're doing it. The third is that you're driven by success, not satisfaction. So you want to achieve. You want others to see your achievement, or you just want to tick off boxes that you got stuff done. Or maybe just you want to have that satisfaction that you've done it yourself. But it's not satisfaction in life. So satisfaction in all areas of life can bring you happiness, even when you're not succeeding. So if you measure life only by success, then that's fleeting, right? Success happens in certain moments. You can be successful all the time, but actually achieving success doesn't happen every minute of every day. However, if you measure your life according to satisfaction, then you can have joy and happiness every second, almost every second, most moments of most days, because you're going to find joy in other things in life. Like right now, I see my cat. She's in my office and she's just chilling out, lying down, looking over at me, all curled up there. And I can find joy in just like chilling and watching her. And so that can be a small thing that brings you joy, and that's based on satisfaction. It's not success, me watching her, but it still can be joy. The fourth reason why we do it is you're avoiding other parts of your life. So this kind of plays into the where your worth comes from that I was mentioning. If another part of your life is in chaos, maybe you're having trouble with your kids, your spouse, maybe your health is suffering and you don't want to think about it. Maybe your finances are suffering. You don't want to think about it. And because you're avoiding these other parts of your life, you focus on your work. And the last one is you feel your work to-do list is never ending. And that is totally possible that your work to-do list is never ending. However, it is not imperative that you finish it every day. Like if it's never ending, then that's fine. The list is going to be there on Monday when you close off on Friday. It's okay. With one of my clients, she just was like, so much more money needs to be raised for this cause. And she was putting in like 80-hour weeks. And I said to her, if you worked every second of every day until you died, you still wouldn't get it all done. And it was at that point that she was like, right. I'm like, yeah, so you want to leave a legacy and you want to be able to do this work for as long as you can. But if you run yourself into the ground, you're going to be no good to no one and you're going to leave this earth early. So if you feel your work to-do list is never ending, like get a grip on that. Figure out what really needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and maybe organizing your business in a different way by delegating, hiring staff, streamlining is the way to go. Now, here are some solutions if you find work is your default and you want to rebalance your life. There are 5 solutions. If you don't realize you're doing it, then start tracking your hours and then plan in time off. And that's actually the big rock, if you think of that analogy around the jar. The big rock, one of them is to plan your time off first. It was really cool. One of the people on my team said, Diane, this year is your 40th. And so what are you going to do for it? And I said, I'd like to go away and all this. And she says, well, let's put that in now. So in January, she said, let's put that in now so that you have that time off. Number 2, when your worth comes from your work, you need to spend time with yourself. That's the solution. You need to know yourself. You need to like yourself. So then after you know yourself, you like yourself, you know what you like personally, what brings you joy, find other areas of your life where your self-worth and your self-esteem can be built. So if faith is an important thing to you, is volunteering at church a better idea? If you have a value around friendship, then can you go and invest more time into your friendship? If knowledge, wisdom, learning, personal development are important to you, how about you read a book or listen to an audio or take a course? That can bring you the worth that maybe you're looking for. So if you have the problem of you're driven by success, not satisfaction, the solution is to start measuring your satisfaction. Use the wheel of life. See what you need, what you want, and then plan it in. And that's something that we can do together. Feel free to reach out to my team, info@dianerolston.com, and just tell them that you want to book a Wheel of Life satisfaction, measuring your satisfaction session, and we can talk about making that happen. Now, the Wheel of Life is a professional coaching tool. I love taking my clients through it. It's this huge eye-opener. It gives you a bird's eye view of what you need in life. Now, when you're avoiding all other parts of life, or even just a couple parts of life, you need to have a hard look at your life. That's where the Wheel of Life measuring your satisfaction comes in. Get honest with yourself. Get honest about how really satisfied you are in each area or unsatisfied. And then think, what do I need to make this be more ideal for me? What do I need to improve? And last but not least, when you feel your work to-do list is never ending, Set some short-term realistic goals in your work. That's a solution. Short-term realistic goals means you are achieving, which will take care of one of the other problems. You're achieving, you're getting things done, and it's going to help you to leave work knowing that you've made progress. And then also create some goals in other areas of life, not just in work. So when you have goals in other areas of life, for example, right now I'm clean eating. I'm also getting more involved with the church. And I'm also wanting to build my friendships more. So these are some goals that I'm creating. I won't tell you exactly what the SMART goal for each one is. But I'm just giving you some ideas. And by having goals in my other areas of life, that helps me to be like, oh, I got to go focus over here. I got to go focus over there. Got to make some decisions. Got to make some time for these things. So if you find work is your default, let me know. Reach out. You can reach me at Diane@DianeRolston.com or find me on social media and let me know what your trouble is or why you do this. And if you try one of the solutions, let me know how it goes. Or if you still are stuck, please reach out. I am here for you. I'm here to help you, to support you, to empower you, or to just give you the swift kick in the butt to get you moving. Whatever you need, please reach out. Happy to do that with you. So thanks so much for today. I am going to stop working right now because I don't want work to be my default today. I'm going to go grab a good book and chill out on my couch. My cat will probably run down and join me and just really tap into another area of life to bring me joy. So until next time, everyone, stay dynamic.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.